Chaturanga is one of the most challenging poses to do properly, which is why doing a restorative version of it not only helps us feel where our bodies should be, but also helps to strengthen the areas required to do this pose properly. To set up our props, we need 4 blocks and a strap that is looped to a fairly small loop. We'll measure this by putting it around the upper arms, right above the elbows, and underneath of the chest. Ensure that the buckle for the strap is facing away from you so it doesn't dig into you. And then measure the strap so that the elbows can come back to the side so that the collarbones are broadened. And then setting up the blocks on the second height underneath the head, on the tallest height underneath the shoulders, and then the last block will go underneath of the hip bones. Not the rib cage, not the belly, but the hip bones. We'll set up the hip first and then we can adjust the rest afterwards. It's a little tricky to get into, so have patience with yourself. Place the hip bones directly on top of that lowest block, and that'll provide the support you need to wiggle around and get those blocks underneath of the shoulders in a perfect place to keep the chest nice and broad, collarbones lengthening. The strap keeps the upper abdominals engaged so the ribs don't flare. And the forehead goes on top of that top block. Slide the hands back so that the hands are directly underneath the elbow, and then you'll see here the opportunity of drawing the belly button up away from the ground with the support of the block underneath the hips. Tucking the toes under, straightening the leg, we're now more in a formal chaturanga position, and then you'll see as I lift the hips up and down off of the block, I'm tracking the tailbone back towards my heels so that the lower belly is engaged and the butt is not sticking up in the air. Let's see this now with 2 bolsters to support the legs even further. This is even more restorative. So we'll set the blocks up the same way, and then also putting that belt around the upper arms, measuring, and then setting up the legs on top of the bolster first. Now you'll see the hips are pretty well elevated, so use the support of the bolster to adjust the blocks to be in their proper positioning, and then you'll see the hips are elevated over the block. Continuing to strengthen the lower abdominal muscles while the upper abdominal muscles knit the ribs in. See the toes curl around the bolster, straightening the legs and reaching back through the heels. All of these muscle groups are required to keep a strong chaturanga. Coming out of the pose, legs go to either side of the bolster before pressing up to sit. Now let's see how to adjust this pose. Now right away as Rachel comes into the restorative chaturanga, we notice first that the lower block is underneath her belly and not her hips. So let's adjust that first. Once that's in place, then we can take a look at the other blocks. You'll see I'm sliding the hand back underneath of the elbow to create that 90-degree angle, and then opening the shoulder to be supported by the blocks. Now if we look at the head, we'll see that the head is a little high, creating a tension in the back of her neck. So we'll support the head before we lower it to create that long neck. And then a fist goes underneath the lower belly to lift up while I track her sacrum with my elbow, and then reach back, tucking the toes underneath, to track her calves backwards to get that energy of opposition from her crown to her heels. Softening the shoulders onto the back, lengthening the neck, and then to help students feel the lower abdominal muscles more, track the front hip bones up towards the lower rib cage without compromising the reach of the heels. Check the oppositional reach now by putting one fingertip on the crown and then the other hand reaches back, tracking those calves. Looks great. And then have them lower their knees to come out of it, supporting their hips, and even removing the belt so they can rest in child's pose. Great work!